Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. George Pickens, not happy about Madden rating, 83 is wild. Pittsburgh Steelers WR George Pickens is not happy with his 83 overall rating in Madden 25. In an Instagram story, Pickens expressed his displeasure, tagging the official Madden account and writing "You, alright, producing bad gaming?" In a separate story, Pickens posted a picture of himself at training camp, writing "I'm a fry yo ass," but it's unclear if it's related to his Madden rating. Pickens' 83 rating puts him as the highest-rated receiver on the Steelers, but just the 33rd highest-rated receiver. It was the same rating former Steelers WR Deontay Johnson received and below receivers such as Gabe Davis, Zay Flowers and Christian Kirk. Putting Pickens below Davis, who has never matched the 63 receptions for 1,140 yards Pickens achieved last year, and has never had more than 48 receptions and 836 yards in a season, which he did in 22, doesn't make much sense, and Pickens has a legitimate gripe with his rating given some of the receivers ahead of him. It's not the first time Pickens isn't happy about his rating. Last season, Pickens was an 80 overall before the season, and he griped that rating was way too low. After a 1,000-yard season, Pickens received just a boost of 3 overall, and for whatever reason, the game also gave him a slot archetype despite Pickens primarily being an outside receiver. For a game that bills itself as a football simulation, Madden has strayed further and further from that with how the game is made each year, as it primarily focuses on its card-collecting Ultimate Team mode. Some of these bizarre ratings show more and more that the game doesn't represent what's actually happening on the field. Regardless, the 83 overall for Pickens isn't bad in a nutshell. He still has to improve his consistency week to week and continue to become a more well-rounded receiver. The bigger issue is his placement among other receivers in the league. On a pure talent basis and production basis, Pickens should be ahead of guys like Davis and should probably be ahead of Courtland Sutton, who got an 84 overall, as well. The rankings around the league make Pickens' rating look bad, even if the actual rating itself isn't all that egregious. But, hey, it's just a video game, and video games can be stupid. That, and my incredible stick skills, is why my UMass Minutemen could pull off an upset against number 3 Missouri in college football 25. They've known each other for quite a while, dating back to high school, but Justin Fields and George Pickens have never been teammates at any level. Until now. After nearly linking up at Georgia for the 2019 season before Fields transferred to Ohio State ahead of Pickens' freshman season, the quarterback and receiver are now with the Pittsburgh Steelers and are establishing chemistry and making some eye-opening plays in training camp. Joey Porter Jr. taking all the knowledge he can from Dante Jackson and Deshaun Elliott. Most of the notable additions the Pittsburgh Steelers made this offseason came on offense, and the biggest signing they made in free agency came on defense with Patrick Queen, but they also made some more underrated moves to shore up their defense. Specifically, they traded for corner Dante Jackson and signed safety Deshaun Elliott, 2 players who aren't superstars but should improve their defense. Based on some recent comments from Joey Porter Jr., they both provided great value so far in training camp. In a video from NFL on CBS, Porter was asked what newcomer has shined so far with the Steelers. "I'll say the 2 new secondary guys," Porter said. "We got Dante Jackson, Deshaun Elliott, those 2 guys came in very vocal. They had a lot of experience from both places they came from. I've really just been soaking in and taking all the knowledge I can from those 2 vets. They had a lot of good tape and I'm a fan of their game." Both players have been in the league since 2018, giving them much more experience than Porter, who only has 1 full season under his belt. Porter has potential to be an NFL star, and having those veterans to teach him the tricks of the trade could be a huge help in his development. Also, if Jackson can be an upgrade over what Levi Wallace and Patrick Peterson gave the Steelers last year, Porter's job should become much easier. Elliott should also help create more stability at the safety position, a spot where the Steelers struggled with last year after they were decimated by injuries. If both remain healthy, Elliott and Minkah Fitzpatrick should provide more support behind Porter. The Steelers has been at their best defensively when they've had a tight-knit unit that communicates well. With how well Jackson and Elliott seem to be fitting in, the Steelers' secondary has the potential to be the best it's been in years. Jackson has also reportedly impressed so far in camp, which doesn't mean everything because the Steelers have only had one padded practice, but it's a good sign. With all the great quarterbacks in the AFC like Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow, having a strong secondary is the key to winning games. If the Steelers want to finally win a playoff game, they'll need Porter to take all that knowledge from Elliott and Jackson and put it into practice as soon as possible. Mike Tomlin gives update on Roman Wilson injury. Pittsburgh Steelers WR Roman Wilson suffered an ankle injury after getting tackled on a jet sweep during 7 shots at training camp today, and after practice, Mike Tomlin confirmed that Wilson got hurt and that the team will have more information. Today was Pittsburgh's first padded practice. "It was unfortunate, we had an injury today, man. Roman hurt his ankle on a tackle and so we'll have more information regarding the length of his status in terms of how long he might be out," Tomlin said via Steelers.com. A third-round pick out of Michigan, Wilson has impressed early in camp and is looking to earn a role in Pittsburgh's thin wide receiver room. Any injury that sidelines him would make that much more of an uphill battle, and it sounds as if we'll find out more about Wilson's injury in the coming days. If Wilson does miss time, that would likely open the door for more opportunities for Calvin Austin III in the slot. It's the second year in a row that the Steelers have lost someone on the first day the pads came on, as CB Corey Trice Jr. tore his ACL on the first day of pads last season. Obviously, the hope is that Wilson's injury isn't as severe and that he doesn't miss much time, if any. He was carted off the field, which on the surface isn't a good sign, but it could just be a precaution and it helped Wilson avoid the long walk off the practice field. Still, it's worth monitoring given that Wilson didn't return to the practice field after the fact. If the injury is serious, it will further weaken Pittsburgh's wide receiver depth, which already looks a bit shaky on paper. Wilson was competing with the likes of Austin, Van Jefferson, Quez Watkins, and Scotty Miller for playing time, and one of those guys will have to step up if Wilson is out longer term. We'll find out more on Wilson in the coming days, but fingers crossed that the injury isn't serious and that he'll be able to make a return to practice in the next few days. And you fan? What do you think of the situation of Roman Wilson? Leave your opinion in the comments.